Yeah, how's it going? My name is Adam Huffman. I'm a comedian. I also have my own podcast. It's called What's Up Foo. It's on Spotify, capital W, little hint to find it. A lot of people will come up to me like, I can't find it. And I'm like, well, did you capitalize the W? Because that's usually why it's not popping up. But I started doing stand up in San Luis Obispo, just moved back to Bakersfield to pursue it. Shout out to my mom and dad for letting me crash at the crib. Like every stand up comedian struggling, you know how it goes. Started doing stand up because I was working at a job that I hated. And I feel like that's a starting point for a lot of people, just unhappy in life. I was literally listening to a Joe Rogan podcast while delivering for UPS. I'll never forget this moment. Joey Diaz stops middle of a sentence and goes, "Dog, there are people working a 9 to 5 right now who will never know what it's like to kill in a room." And this shock just goes head to toe. And I start like tearing up. I called my mom and my dad. I'm like, I know what I need to do now. Like I hated school. I moved up there for college, hated it, moved on to the blue collar lifestyle, hated it. And I'm like, man, this is all just a joke to me. Like this is just one big game and one big joke. So I started doing stand up and everything just kind of clicked. And I'm like, okay, purpose, path, it's all making sense now.
The classic of becoming a comedian, usually people have stuff going on in their life and they're looking for some type of like attention.
And there's like these people who are like, well, I can make my friends laugh. And then they say the exact same thing in the mic. And then people are sitting there in silence. And then the panic hits them. And then their eyes get big. The lights are on them. And they're like, holy shit. Like, and then a lot of times they'll flake out, burn out, and they'll never do comedy again. Or they learn from it and they come back the next week and they keep trying. And you have to bomb at comedy to figure out how to get good at it. Like entertainment, like the imagination,
Yeah.
you're trying to keep that wonder going. And I feel like as a comedian, your job is to almost bring people into that world and let them see the world through that mind because they're paying you. They want to escape their reality. It's your job to get them into your mindset, to take them through a joke to find the funny. And it's a comedian's job to chisel out a joke to make sure people find it funny and stick with you the entire time. There is definitely levels to the comedy game. There are the people who show up to every open mic every single week for the last 5 years who do the exact same set. And it'll bomb every time. And instead of taking that criticism from the crowd and using it to go home and refine their bits, maybe they change a little something up, they'll just be like, oh, it was a shit crowd. And they'll come back the next week, bomb again. And it's like, brother, that is live feedback for you. The crowd is there to let you know exactly how they feel about your joke. The Well Comedy Club just recently opened up here in Bakersfield, and I work there as a doorman. So I'm seeing the levels between like the openers for the headliners who've been doing it for 20 years. Like just this last weekend, Russell Peters came through, and I got to see him do the same set 3 nights in a row, and it's like, damn, you couldn't tell the difference
On
between
time,
all
every
3 nights.
time.
Every single night it was damn near same punchlines at the exact same time, and the crowd is popping every single time. But then his openers, they do the same set, and it's like
Ramble.
one night the crowd was hot, the next night they're silent, and he's up on stage like, and it's like, what's the difference? He's saying the same thing. It's like, oh, he's panicking now because the crowd's not on his side, and
He's not confident in their material.
Exactly.
So tell me about the open mic. How'd you get started with the open mic there at Dugan's?
I worked there, and a lot of the open mics that were in the area stopped because COVID, that sucked for comedy. And then basically once everybody started coming back out again, the Well kind of took over the scene and put it all into one spot because it's the only actual dedicated comedy club. And then the Well moved locations, so it shut down for 9 months. So that was 3 open mics during the week gone. And I was like, damn, what are we going to do? And everybody's like, yeah, what are we going to do? I went up to my boss and I was like, hey, can I start an open mic at the bar? And she's like, yeah, sure. And like some weeks there would be nobody there. It'd literally just be me and the bartender. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going home. And then there was other weeks like when you showed up where it's like 4 or 5 comics and we've got like 10 people in the crowd. And even though it's a small open mic, it's still practice. You know what I mean? It's still a venue that you can do your comedy at, see what works. It's so much harder to make 10 people laugh than 100. But if you can make 10 people laugh, that's how you know you got a good joke. And it's going to translate very well to the 100.
So I haven't come across it here too much. Maybe like similar parallel, what they call parallel thinking and shit, but not
Right.
necessarily like anybody jacking anybody. But I did see it a lot in LA, bro. LA, that shit was hilarious. So I remember this guy, and let's just exaggerate, right? Just to make the point across. Like this 6 foot black dude yoked out comes up and does the same set for like 3 weeks in
Right.
a row. And just where you like recognize them at that point,
Mhm.
you recognize the joke, even to the point where you're like, I wonder if he's gonna do that joke again. It kills. It's pretty funny. And then the next week, a fat Asian short dude shows up and does the same set,
And you're like, wait a minute.
and you're like, what? People still laughed. It wasn't as good as a laugh, but it was a laugh. And then you see that guy walk across the room after his set, and he goes up to the 6 foot yoked out black dude and he hands him an envelope of money. He bought the joke off him.
That is so insane to me. I've seen that too. I haven't seen it like that, but I've seen a comedian giving another comedian money, and then the other comedian's like, "Cool, you're now the owner of my worst joke." And it's like, "Wait, you really just bought a joke off something?" Like people actually do that.
For an open mic joke? Nah.
Nah.
Tell me about your podcast.
It's basically just like this. It's just two comedians bullshitting. We talk about politics, religion. He's Mexican, I'm white. We talk about our like different family dynamics. It's pretty chill. It's just two comedians bullshitting.
Have you guys is my light flickering? Am I tripping?
Yeah, no, I'm like that
Uh,
definitely just I'm like, whoa.
so you do the show with who?
His name's Vic Polito. He's another comic who is out in San Luis Obispo, Santa Maria area.
Okay. So he
Yeah.
comes out here just to do the podcast, or
I
how's
go
that?
up there. I started doing comedy up there.
Oh, that's what's
So
up.
yeah, so he lives up there. I used to live up there.
What
We
days you go
started
out there?
whenever I can.
Oh,
I
okay.
just try to make it. You know what I mean? If I'm not working on a Tuesday or Thursday, yeah, I'll pop up there. I'll usually text him like, "Hey man, you busy? Let's do a pod." You know,
Hmm.
we don't have any set. Hey, we're gonna talk about this, this, and this. We usually do like pod topics where it's like we'll come up like I'm gonna talk to him about like I just played some 70-year-old lady in pickleball the other day. She absolutely whooped my ass, and I'm trying to make a bit out of it. And like we do a segment called "Is This Funny Foo?" So I'm gonna talk to him about like a little just a funny joke that I was trying to write. So
Okay.
it's really just two comedians who are working on comedy together, and we're giving the audience a little bit of how the sausage is made almost. It's like a behind the scenes look of like, hey, you heard us say this joke on the podcast 3 months ago. Then you came to one of our shows and you heard that joke and it's different. Like we've worked on it, we've ironed it out. Maybe you heard one tagline on the podcast, but now it's a completely different. You know what I mean? It's cool to see how a joke progresses.
Well, I want to check it out, and then it'd be dope to have both you guys do if you guys both want to do the podcast at some point.
Yeah.
I'll be willing to go up there too. I mean,
Hell
all
yeah.
this shit's mobile
We
too.
don't, we literally record off of just an iPhone on the table. We don't even have video. This whole thing is insane. Like when I walked in here, I was like, holy shit, this is what a real podcast looks like.
When it comes to writing, I know you said that you usually put it in your phone.
Yeah.
So are you just writing down the thought, the concept, and or completely writing word for word?
So on my phone, I have a note app.
The Samsung Note?
Yeah, the Samsung Notes.
That shit right
That's where
there.
we run it, baby. And I'll literally type out word for word my entire bit, and I'll even add like parentheses, like pretend you're a bird, or like dot 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 dot. Like, I when I write, I'm thinking about how I would say it while I'm on stage. So I'll write extra little like movements, pretend to do a karate kick, or like, hey, pause and then punchline, you know? So I write everything in my phone, and I'm trying to be better about transferring it to a notebook. So
Do you then go and go, which karate kick is funnier like than the other karate kick?
I don't say I get that into it. I probably just like, I think more about like the tags in it. Like, oh, if I put this one before this one, will it get better? I don't really think about like, oh, maybe if I did a spinning back kick instead of the axe kick, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
is a spinning is a roundhouse
yeah,
funnier than the straight kick?
exactly. I
Oh no.
often, a lot of times, I'll tell my friends privately, like, oh, I just came up with this bit. What do you think? And they'll tell me like, hey, I think you should do a roundhouse. And I'm like, it's not really where the funny's at. Sick.
Just do an outro of where people can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at It's Huffy's Comedy, YouTube, It's Huffy's Comedy, Adam Huffman on Facebook.